If you have clicked on this video, you're probably considering starting your journey with a tutor or teacher. I work at a school in Italy and I've seen plenty of students change their minds, deciding to have a different teacher. Choosing a good tutor can really make a difference in your language learning journey. Also, it's not necessary, it's not mandatory to have a tutor. For example, now I'm learning French and I do not attend any classes. I would love to in the future, but that's very personal. If you've taken this into consideration, please be mindful about these 4 crucial steps. Let's go. Please make sure this person is also qualified. There's a very big difference between somebody who is a native speaker and somebody who chooses as a profession to teach, to tutor, to guide somebody. Let me show you this with an example. Imagine you want to teach your native language. It might be Arabic, it might be Japanese, it might be Spanish, German, whatever. Are you confident you'd be able to teach that language despite you have mastered that language? I mean, it's your native one. You use it on a daily basis. You know how to express any kind of thought, any kind of need. You understand the slang, you understand the idioms. Having that knowledge and transmitting that knowledge to another person, it is definitely a challenge, because that's what a good teacher does. He or she is able to convey and to be that kind of help, that aid that a student needs. They'll find it extremely feasible and practical. When I was at university, my goal was not to teach. I have focused on business English, I have mastered my English skills, and I was quite confident in English. But I have also tutored some of my friends, some members of my family, and I was crap. I didn't know what their difficulties were. And after some years, I decided to then take on the CELTA course. I have studied to become a teacher. If you're familiar with that meme of your mind basically exploding, that's how I felt after the course. I would definitely recommend a tutor who has some background knowledge. I'd make a very big exception if your goal is just to speak, to have conversation. If you want to have a conversation with somebody, then go ahead, find native speakers or people who have mastered that language and have a chat with them. My second tip, and this might sound bizarre, but there are students who want a teacher who can speak their native language. Think about this, because some students do not want a teacher who cannot understand the student's native language. It is way more common than you might think it is. It has occurred to me many times since I can speak Italian. Whenever I have students who are Italian and they have this desire, they're very happy, because if there is some very difficult word, very difficult expression, something might be a bit challenging, they ask for some Italian equivalent. This is what we also call contrastive grammar. If somebody wants to compare 2 different systems, for instance, in Italian we use an article and in English we use another article. So they want to see this contrast. There are students who do not want any interference with the English language. There are students who say, I do not want to know anything about this language using my native one. I've seen extremely competent and talented teachers being discarded and being substituted because they didn't speak the native language. And on the flip side of the coin, I've seen students who did not want a teacher who could speak their native language. Point number 3, and this is, my opinion, one of the most important ones. If you want to get a certificate in English, please make sure your teacher, your tutor, knows very well about that exam. Not all teachers want to teach people how to pass exams. There are job adverts about teachers who teach how to pass the first certificate exam, the CAE exam, or for instance, IELTS. These are very different kinds of certificates, different size of exam. You might find, if you watch on YouTube, if you search on YouTube, professors and teachers who are specialized in IELTS, specialized in Cambridge certificates, and then you might find teachers who do not want to teach somebody how to pass the exam because they are more about conversation. They're more about teaching how to live in a foreign country using that language. I make the comparison as if you were going to a doctor. If you feel pain and you're not quite sure what you need to look at and you just want to feel better, go for a checkup to the doctor, to a general doctor, and you get an overview of your health. But if you, for example, need to solve a toothache, your teeth hurt a lot, you know you're going to go to a dentist because you need something extremely specific. The same happens with languages. If you're aiming for a certificate, you need to make sure the teacher and the tutor you're choosing knows about the structure of the exam, the criteria to evaluate everything you say, everything you write, and can also guide you to stop making the same mistakes. And for this kind of exams, you need tips, you need insights, you need constant commentary. These teachers are going to ask you also for more money probably because it requires a lot of work. It requires a very specialized kind of knowledge and also guiding you every step of the way. Make sure you also familiarize with this if you want a certificate. And then point number 4, you need to build trust with your teacher, with your tutor. Try to be very clear about your goals, why you struggle with the language, what are your dreams, what are your objectives, what you'd like to achieve. If you have a time limit, make sure you say it to your teacher. If you want to achieve fluency in a specific area, if you need English for your job or you're looking for a new occupation, if you want to help your son or your daughter, your children with their homework, all of these elements play a role and the teacher must know about these. So what's important is to trust the process and get to know your tutor. Do you like the approach? Be explicit about what you want from that kind of journey. If you do not feel familiar, if you do not feel any kind of connection, if you feel it's a waste of time, if you can't connect with the teacher, well, at the beginning, it's okay, it's quite normal, it takes some lessons. If you in the long run still feel this kind of detachment and you just do not feel cozy, let's call it this way, cozy, well, in that case, it's okay to talk with the teacher, to assess the situation, and it's absolutely okay also to decide and change. Trust me, he or she is going to play a huge role in your journey. He or she is going to be your guide, is going to listen to you and speak with you, converse with you so much. You can't be shy, you can't dread that moment of the lesson. If you dread it, or if you feel lazy, if you feel uninspired, unmotivated, it's not going to work. I remember that a teacher must put his or her ego aside because he or she is helping you in your journey. So I always try to make it not about me, but about the student and about the bond and the connection we have, and understanding in an objective way what we can do to improve, what I can do to help, and what the other student might need to focus on to succeed. Of course, there are some additional points to consider. So obviously the economical aspect of it. Just make sure, it's not a process that lasts 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Finding a tutor, finding somebody who teaches you is not very cheap. Another point I'd like to make is that the teacher is not going to perform any miracle. It's not possible through osmosis to teach you the language. The teacher is not going to pass on their knowledge to you just by looking at you and talking with you for an hour. It is a journey that requires so much hard work from both the teachers and the students, the learners. And to finish off the video, I'd like to ask you, have you ever had an English or a foreign language tutor or teacher. What is your experience? How did you find it? What did you like and what did you dislike about it? I'm very curious to know about your experience, also because that's my job. So I love to see also the feedback that students give about their teachers, because it helps us grow. Like, everybody grows from this. I'll see you very soon with a new piece of content. Have a great day, a great week, a great afternoon, great morning, and I'll see you soon. Bye.